Welcome back, Data Flowers. I wonder what new mechanics could be introduced into the game at this point, or if it's just going to be like a bunch of... Or if it's just going to be a combination of everything that I'm supposed to know. Oh no, I hope it's not that. Everybody look to the left. Everybody look to the right. Look up. Down and to the left, up and to the right. Ugh. My neck isn't made for looking anywhere but straight ahead. But let's hope you are more agile. You got a new command. For each direction, use this command to quickly scan each of the 8 tiles around the worker. I suggested they call this command sit and spin, but no one ever listens to my good ideas. See those groups of data cubes? Add up the values of the data cubes in each group and write the result on the center of each one. You get a new command for each direction. Use the button over there to learn more. So, everyone just needs to step up until they're in the middle of a data cube. For each direction as Mem1. That's really interesting. Let's actually read about this. Repeat for ups to each of the 8 directions around the useful to scan around a worker. Useful to scan and evaluate their surroundings. The contents of each tile around you will be placed into a memory slot, not a direction. If a tile you are scanning is empty, your memory slot will store the value as nothing. Got it. So, So the lazy thing to do is enter a loop where what I do is if any of these are a nothing, if mem1 is equal to nothing, then I need to step up. So basically, if any of my tiles are nothings, then I need to step up until none of them are nothings. Otherwise, okay, we'll set mem2 is equal to 0. We clear out mem2 every time. Otherwise, we calculate mem2 as mem2 plus mem1. So basically, okay, so let's just see this in action. So they've added 6. This person has realized that they have, this is working out really well. Let's see what happens when we get the first people to enter the middle of the data flower. Alright, everyone has stood in the middle of the data flower, and then they reach this point. So what we need to do is we need to set for the very first thing we need to do is we need to set mem4 to the tile below me. Once I have my data flower, I then step to mem4. I pick up... Can I pick up mem4, actually? I can pick up mem4. I can write mem2, which is my summation of my for each direction. I can then drop it. So everyone's added all their things. They write down their sums. This isn't quite what we're looking for. So, my issue was that maybe I need to put mem2 is equal to 0 at that point. Write the result in the center of each one. Ah, I was wrong. I thought I was supposed to just write it down on these cubes. No. Okay, so I need to pick up what I'm holding. We don't need this mem4 anymore. We then write mem2 and drop it. So it needs to be placed in the middle. There we go. 8 or fewer commands, I did not hit that. Speed challenge, I probably did okay. Nope. But, I mean, the point is I won. Local maximums. This scares me. Let's all look around the room together. Who's the nicest worker? Who's the most generous? Who's the best looking? Who's most likely to be careless and just dive right into a shredder? Who gives the best gifts? Who eats the loudest at lunch? Yes, I'm sure we're all very good at picking the most extreme things out of a group of things. So if each of you, please go stand in the middle of a group of data cubes and use your new for each deer command to identify the largest data cube in that group. Pick it up and shred it. What, me? Yes, I was voted most likely to leave a trail of broken hearts and document them on a spreadsheet. So far, so good. So, everyone needs to step to the left twice. Once they're in the middle of their flower, they then will calculate... We'll then use for each deer as mem1. And, the other thing I can do is I can set... I will step to the left. I will then set mem1 to be what I'm standing on. The reason I do this is I'm going to choose this to be my maximum. So, if I'm doing this to be pedantic, I actually don't need to do this because every number is 0 or more. But the proper way to pick the maximum out of a group is you take the first item, assume it's maximum, and then compare it to every other item in the group. So I'm going to take this item that I step across as the maximum. I'll step in here, and then I'll compare it to itself, or rather everything in the group. So if mem1 is greater than mem2, we will then set mem2 as mem1. So for everything, we will just compare it against mem1. Once we've done that, we will then give to... We'll set mem4 to be the nearest shredder. Well, first we're going to pick up mem2, which is the maximum cube. We will set mem1 to be the nearest shredder, and we will give to mem1. That was fast. That was really, really fast. For each deer is really, really quick. And this should have done it. And I think I won the speed challenge. Awesome. Tell you what, watch this. I'm also going to win the size challenge. Take that out. It's not necessary. And there you go. It's not much of an accomplishment to win the speed challenge and the side challenge for like the first level in a series of levels, but I'm still happy that I did it. Okay, neighborly sweeper. What the hell? Where do all you people go each night? I just assume you all sleep in a pile in the basement. Yes, I see. You have little houses, and I assume each house is assembled next to some other number of little houses, and this forms a little neighborhood, with sporting events, and bake sales, and community theater? Yes, I'm glad you have things to look forward to. The important thing is that we are all able to quantify proximity. For each cube below, record how many neighbors it has in the 8 adjacent tiles, and write that number on the cube. Yes, I'm sure this will make an excellent anecdote at your next neighborhood potluck. Okay, tip for management. Be careful if your if command sees data cubes only if they're on the floor. If you try to query a tile that contains a worker who's holding a data cube up in the air, your if command will report the tile as not having a cube. Oh. If you try to query a tile that contains a worker who's holding up a data cube in the air. So... interesting. So this would be 1, then this would be 2, then this would be 3, this would be 4, this would be 3, that'd be 1. I need to not eagerly write, but then I can't do this in a single pass, and nobody's going to remember what all their numbers were. So if anyone is in the process of writing down the number of cubes, then I can't just like do my for each deer scan. That's interesting. However, I don't need to worry about that because everyone should be completely synchronized with each other, assuming that they all have the same number of cubes to write, which they don't. So basically, if I'm not standing on a data cube, I need to waste 2 cycles. Got it. That's technically still the most efficient approach, because the runtime of this algorithm is determined entirely by the length of the longest row. So that's how I'll avoid that issue. All right. If to my left is a wall, then I walk to the right. Which is kind of annoying. That one cube is 99. Yeah, I think they wrote that on there as a joke. I'm not too sure why they did that. Anyway, I wonder, and I don't have nearest anymore. So anyway, that's kind of weird. If to my left is a wall, then I need to do a step right pattern. Else, we need to do a step left pattern. So, if the other thing I can do is I can just have everyone step to the right twice at the very beginning and step to the left twice at the very beginning. So that means everyone starts here, and that's kind of easy to reason about. If I am on a data cube, I then do for each tier is mem1. I calculate mem1 is mem1, or rather, for each tier, if mem1 is equal to a data cube, then we'll calculate mem2 to be mem2 plus 1. And then I'm done with the for each tier thing. I pick up my cube and I write mem2 onto it, and then I drop it. So if I'm standing on a data cube, I do this pattern. Then I need to jump and do another step to the right type thing. If I'm not standing on a data cube, then I need to waste a bunch of cycles. So I'll just calculate mem2 to be 1 plus 1. This is kind of funny, but hey, it works. So, and then I'll need to do that potentially like 2 or 3 times. And then I also need to calculate, I need to set mem2 to be 0 every time I do this. So I reset my things. I'm gonna see if I can just get these people to do it right. Okay, so we are getting some desynchronization. Because calculating... Oh boy. Yeah, this is gonna be nuts. How do I synchronize it? Because the other level of synchronization that's at play is if I only have to add mem1, if I do for each tier here, and I have just this, just 1 versus 2, then it takes me longer to add it up. What happens to the 95 tile? I mean, I don't think anything happens to the 95 tile, right? Unless I'm supposed to like use manipulate that somehow. Wait a second. Eris the Greek god. Hold on. Eris, is that you? Are you okay? So I have somebody in my chat named Eris, and I have a coworker named Eris, and I have explicitly told him to not watch my streams. And if that is my coworker Eris right now and he's watching my streams, then he should go fuck himself and get out of my stream right now, because that's ridiculous. Oh, Eris in my chat is now claiming that he is not, in fact, the Eris that I know from work. But I don't know if I believe you now. You're on my birds lead, like, don't know, like, don't trust list. Okay, anyway. I'm reading the name wrong. Okay. Well, Eris is very Greek. But Ares, maybe? I don't know.
The Greek god of war.
Yeah. Hang on. You've completely distracted me. Yep, okay, the Aris I know is A-R-I-S, so it is Ares. Okay, so I thought... Okay, so... Shouldn't have said anything. Alright, I feel bad for getting your coworker in trouble. He's an asshole, don't feel bad. Okay, so here's now that I've had some time to think and get all that out of my system, there's another thing I can do to help everyone keep synchronized, which is I calculate, you know, what I could do that'd be kind of interesting is if I'm, I just add 0 to mem 1, and then I don't need to actually worry about this, like, cycle wasting thing. So, I step to the right. I can actually completely retool this. So, if I'm on a data cube, then I add 1 to mem2, otherwise I add 0 to mem2. And then, if I am on a data cube, then I do my writes. And I write mem2. Otherwise, I do nothing. So, else, I need to waste 3 cycles, so I just set mem2 is equal to 0 3 times. Which, I mean, that works. So, let's see if this works for all these people on the left. Alright. None of them are actually doing their writing, which is fine. Because I put the jump statement in the wrong spot. Alrighty, so there's still some very, very slight desynchronization where people who don't have to write anything are getting ahead very slightly. So I guess I just need to do one more set of mem2 to 0. It did sound lovingly, but I don't feel bad for them anymore. I mean, for a very interesting definition of the term loving, okay? So, this is still almost not quite working. Let's just set mem2 is equal to 0 once again. These people are still getting totally desynchronized from each other. How is that happening? They should be doing the exact same number of calculations, so they shouldn't be getting desynchronized. Oh, hold on. Huh? Why did they do their step right? Oh, does setting mem2 is equal to 0 actually not take any time? It must, yeah, it must not take any actual time for them to do that. Well, let's remove that command because that's actually not going to synchronize anything. Let's see how much time it takes for them to do 1 plus 1. It might just be the perfect amount of time. So, everyone should be doing the same amount of calculations. Everyone's... looks like they're in lockstep. Only one person had to write, yeah. Everyone looks like they're in lockstep. Cool. So now I don't need to worry about the synchronization problem of between different people. So if we just take a look at this, let's just look if my algorithm's working. So this is next to 1, that's next to 2, that's 3, that's 4. That's next to 5, that's next to 4. Alright, perfect. So now I get to do the same code over again, but instead of have people stepping right. Do 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 do. Wish I could do the send function instead, but I don't know how to do that. Except for a very easy way. So, if it were possible, there's a copy paste thing. Yeah, but that copies and pastes from other rooms, which sucks. What I need to do is I need to trash this if statement. I need to move everything that's in this if statement outside of it. However, the game doesn't fucking let you do that. So, I will just need to do it this way. Alrighty. So, what we do is, if to my left is a wall, then I'm going to set mem4 is equal to 1. Else, I set mem4 equal to 0. I actually probably don't need to put that into the else block, but anyway. So, I now do another thing. If... Okay, so we will then do, if mem4 is equal to 1, then I do steps to the right. Else, I do steps to the left. And that actually works really well. Alright. It's not the speediest program because people are wasting a ton of time doing calculations when they don't actually explicitly need to. But everyone is totally synchronized, so I've completely avoided this this tip from management that they were alluding to. Oh, it's called Neighborly Sweeper because it's Minesweeper. I did terrible on the speed challenge. But hey, I guess the other thing I could have checked is if I have a coworker in my for each deer, then I don't do anything. But then I'd have a wonderful case where I have people locking on each other. But hey, whatever. Point is, Neighborly Sweeper's done. And with that, I bid you all good night.